Welcome to Experts in Global Sports, Voices of Change, a podcast by the International Coaching Course, the ITK, based at the Sports Science Faculty of Leipzig University in Germany. In this podcast, you are going to listen to Voices of Change about experiences, knowledge, and stories of the ITK community. We want to spread inspiration, passion, and motivation in global sports. In this episode, I spoke to Patricia from Uganda. Patricia attended the ITK Sports Management Course in Leipzig in 2019. She actually studied information systems in her bachelor, but then transitioned to the world of basketball and sports administration. She volunteered at a female basketball club called A1 Challenge, where on weekends without matches, they went to schools to promote the game of basketball and teach values through basketball. She also started volunteering at the National Basketball Federation of Uganda, where she now holds the position of Commissioner for Youth, Mini Basketball and Educational Institutions. She is one of the 2 women in the executive committee. Besides that, she works as an administrator at Score Beyond, an NGO with a strong focus on empowering girls and boys through education and basketball, especially in rural areas. Currently, she is living in Sochi in Russia, studying a master's degree in sports administration at the Russian Olympic University. There were some sound issues during the recording, so I had to re-record some questions that I asked her. So we spoke before, and I'm impressed about all the things that you are doing. So I wondered what motivates you to get up every day and pursue your career in sports administration?
It's a very interesting question. What motivates me every day? Unfortunately, in my country, sport is still taken as leisure, a hobby. It's not taken as something that can end up being professional or something that can help someone earn a living. I think it's only football right now that is trying to professionalize their league, and they are slowly trying to ensure that all sports are actually brought on board and presented to the ministry and to the president himself, saying, hey, even sport can be a sector in the country that can, 1, promote the country, 2, uplift the country in terms of tourism, 3, it's a place where youth can be employed and have decent jobs. And I think off the record, my country has one of the youngest people in the world. Our age group is our median age should be, I think, 14 years of age, if I'm not mistaken. So our country in general has a huge bunch of young people who are enthusiastic, who want to make a living, but because sport is looked at as a leisure, people still play just to have fun, or people play to, after work, just a stress reliever, and boom. So I think this is one of my biggest motivations. And then also with experience that after my degree, I think I only worked for 1 company, and as soon as my contract was done, this was the end of my journey actually in IT. And this is when I actually also went to sport, because there I ended up doing a number of things that helped me earn a living, even if at the same time I was actually trying to now learn or involve as an administrator. The other thing I think is where I come from. My mother gave birth to only girls, and she has raised us to be very impactful people where we go or where we can always be. And one of her mottos is that the truth will always be. And I think these are one of the things that keep motivating me to try and be different, to try and have impact, to try and be a cause to my generation and my country.
You're working at this NGO called Score Beyond, which is giving opportunities for kids to play basketball. You already said it a bit how you got access to basketball, but maybe you can tell again how did you start to play basketball as a child, and like who gave you the access, especially as a girl?
I first touched a basketball when I was 12 years. And this was when I was in my first year in senior secondary. And I remember I was very short, very tiny. We had come to pick my admission form. And as soon as we entered into the gate, I see this playground that has 2 hoops, but I don't understand. I'm thinking maybe it's a car parking. So I want to run away from my parents, but I don't know anyone. So anyway, we walk to the administration block. They tell my father asks the secretary, I've come to get an admission for my daughter. These are her results from primary school. So the head teacher this day was around and tells my father, we can give you admission, but your child cannot be in boarding school. She's still very young and very little to be in boarding. My father tells them, no, she's going to start boarding here. And luckily, my secondary school was just near the primary school where my father teaches. So my school was called St. Peter's Nalia. And as soon as I got admission, I remember every day after class, I was on the basketball court. And I was lucky to be coached by then one of the most powerful and skilled coaches. They were still playing in one of the prestigious teams in the country called Falcons Basketball Club. And he was a twin, so sometimes his brother would come and sometimes it would be him to teach us. So this was my journey. And when I look back, I'm very grateful because I think having been small, tiny, stubborn, and wanting to play this game, this was my biggest motivation. And I would not fear to see that boys are there because it was a mixed school. And every day, to the extent that in my second year in the secondary, it was, I don't know if you know about confirmation, where the bishop blesses us as children to now start reading the Bible. I remember it was my confirmation day, and after confirmation, parents had been allowed to come and visit us. After my confirmation, I took pictures with my parents. My aunties had come around to visit me. They had carried food. Guess what? I leave them there, go to the dormitory, put on my uniform, shorts, shoes, and I ran to the basketball court. For me, it was other people saw it as crazy, but for me, it was like, I think I've finished seeing you people. I have to go to my games that I play because I have very limited time to play this game. And in the evening, we have to go to class, you see.
You said that you want to like do something for your country and also help that basketball is not just a sport for leisure. I feel like you also have a bigger mission through like the sports for development sector. And you told me that you work for the NGO Score Beyond, and their mission is, I will just read it out. We leverage sport to enhance women and girls' leadership. We are dedicated to enhancing the livelihoods of women and girls through sports. So I wondered, like, how do you enhance these livelihood of women and girls? How can you affect them through sports or through basketball?
Thank you. So this is an organization again that was started up with I call her my senior mentor, my executive director, Mavita Ali. And it was a stepping stone to see that young athletes, especially the girls, could get opportunities. Now, unlike me, who was in the urban area, and had access to a court and had access to a coach who embraced and took us and coached us despite him being male and us being female. Score Beyond has created a platform for children, mostly in the rural areas, because you find that you can't have an accessible court or facility to play basketball. You may not find the right size 6 basketball ball for girls to teach them the game. So when Scorpion came on board, we said there are so many girls in the rural areas who don't have access to very many facilities. There are so many talented girls in the rural areas who have no access to sanitation. There are so many girls in rural areas who have no access to going back to school, despite being tall, for example, being very athletic, but because of the stereotypes of girls have to remain at home, girls have to always cook, sports is not for girls. This was the stereotype we're trying to push out. And currently, I think almost after 3-4 years, Scope Beyond is actually now evolving into bringing everyone together. That means we are also not leaving the boy child behind. We are saying we are going to move as a team and grow as a team, because if no one is taking care of the boys and everyone is focusing on the girls, then who will take care of the boy child? So some of the issues that also the boys face are lack of equipment, lack of mentorship, lack of tuition to go to school. But when Scope Beyond came, first of all, we created a unity, and because we have been dealing with children or youths in rural areas, you find that the kids get involved in different behaviors, for example, drug addiction, early pregnancies, dropping out of school, becoming mothers at a very tender age. So what Scorpion from the beginning has been doing is, can we first create a family? If we are going to use basketball as our tool, what things does basketball teach that we can embrace to teach these children, but at the same time, teaching them the game of basketball? So Score Beyond started on that, and I think we are so far going in the right direction, because we are mainly using sport as a tool to unite, first of all, to create peace, to create cohesion and share resources, and also have justice. So because at the end of the day, everyone will want to use sport for something, but our main focus is creating unity, having cohesion, sharing resources, providing good education, getting opportunities for these athletes in case they cannot, their parents cannot further them to maybe secondary or university. You will not believe, but there are some cultures still who don't allow girls to play sport. And we're here saying, hey, these children can have opportunity in sport, not only playing games, like, because they say they call it playing games, but not only playing games, but they can have, because of playing games, they can have quality education, they can have different opportunities to, for example, travel, go and see what is being done elsewhere, come back and share with their relatives, or schoolmates. So there have been so many positives within this journey.
So, from what you're saying, Score Beyond is contributing to various UN SDGs, like the Sustainable Development Goals, for example, peace and justice, gender equality, or good health and well-being. In our pre-meeting, you mentioned a project that you're working on with Score Beyond with refugees in your country. Maybe you can explain a bit more about this project.
So you find that Uganda has one of the biggest intakes of refugees in the country. And this is why we said, hey, let's use this place to be able to promote sport, but also, most importantly, create peace, and also sharing resources and opportunities. And unfortunately, this region has not been a sporting region, despite producing some of the greatest sportsmen in our country. And this happens because people always leave the rural areas to come in the capital. And in the capital, this is where you find all sports facilities. So in Adjumani, being the border, already initially you'd find segregation. Kids of the refugees would not want to interact with kids of the hosting community, because I mean, you guys are just from outside, we are just helping you to stay here, you know, so on and so forth. Zero knowledge of sport, be it basketball, rugby. But we said, I think this is a place where we can start. First, introducing sport and saying, or physical exercises, and saying, hey, as young people, we need to be actively healthy. We need to be very coordinative and how do you call it, and embraceful, because we stay in one community. If someone passes away or if someone doesn't have food, it's always a good gesture to share the little you have. So when we saw this as a loophole, we said, I think this would be the best start. First of all, there is only one basketball court, meaning we cannot accommodate over 300 refugee kids on only one basketball court. So we have to get a basketball court already, another basketball court, so that you maybe at least have 2 courts or 4 courts. Get equipment. Guess what? You're still in the rural area. You have to come up with different proposals to different NGOs or ministries or organizations to say, hey, this is what we are coming up with. How can you support us? So this refugee program is actually not only for the refugees, but it will be encompassing all the hosting community and the refugees, so that we create a harmony between them, but also have equal access for these people. Some of the refugees have opted to, especially the young people, have opted to drinking or doing manual labor, you know, under construction. And we are saying, hey, we can all have these opportunities. When COVID came, some kids would come and ask you, why do I need to go to school now? I've been already working. I know what working means. But this is a child you're trying to tell, hey, if you go to school, you will improve yourself as a person. Your qualities as an individual and characters will also change. And also, guess what? You can get better opportunities, and you're not destined to be doing this manual work or labor work. And a few of them will actually listen to you, or some will actually say, no, I'm going to remain doing my labor work. I'm no longer interested in school. So we have learned how to slowly get into them. Secondly, this region has also had the highest rate of suicidal issues, where especially mental health, and I think this was also the effect of COVID in this region, where the kids or the youth will get into drug addiction, early marriages. Why are you even going back to school? This does not help you anymore. And we are slowly saying, hey, guess what? Your mental health is very important. You need financial skills if you're going to start such a business. You need leadership skills if you're going to start working with different kinds of people. And this has helped us to create kind of a home where even the older people will come and say, come and knock at the offices and say, I have this challenge. How can you people help me? You know, creating different financial opportunities such as savings, group savings, having a community where you can always share different ideas and not only sporting ideas. And I believe that slowly by slowly we shall be getting better. Unfortunately, now I'm not there, but at least I keep in touch on what is the latest development, how are we going on with the coaches, because, for example, we can't keep ferrying coaches from the Kampala, which is the city center, to Adjumani. Guess what we have said? We are partnering with primary and secondary school teachers, especially physical education, and saying, guys, this is all our responsibility. We are going to teach you how to coach basketball. We are going to teach you how to coach rugby. We are going to teach you how to officiate these games, so that even within ourselves, we are able to sustain whatever we are trying to come up with. It would be very cost friendly if we do this than every time we have a camp or leadership courses that we have to ferry people from the city center, which is almost 6 hours away, to Adjumani. you have to accommodate them, you have to feed them, and we're telling them, hey, head teachers, please give us your teachers for 2 hours. We are going to teach them A, B, C, D. And we have called these actually like training of trainers, where we give opportunities even to the locals who are interested in serving in sport, in trying to also be educative within their society, so that even the kids know that they're not only bringing people from outside, they're actually using people within our community that we know. And it's actually easier, and it also helps with the language barrier, where someone will shy away to tell you an issue, but because they're seeing one of their own leaders, maybe the community leaders or a head teacher, for example, or a teacher in a certain school, and they know him and they know her, it's easy for them to come and approach them and tell them, hey, this is what I'm going through. How do you think these people can help me? So for us, it is almost like a diverse engagement for everyone. How can we help this community? Also, how can we help ourselves in this community to become better, but also to provide equally sporting community for everyone.
Wow, congratulations on this project. The way you speak about it really shows that you have a passion for this topic and these kind of projects. So to finish off, I asked Patricia about her experience in the committee of the National Basketball Federation of Uganda, where she is as one of 2 women. And you will listen to yourself, but I was a bit surprised about her reply and her point of view about women in leadership positions she gave. But listen to yourself.
I took up this role because my predecessor or the person I was replacing said, I'm not coming back to this seat. So I said, okay. If you're not coming back, then maybe I should start here. What have you done? What can I be helpful with? So we share a couple of things, but also because of my experience with A1 Challenge and Score Beyond, I said, I think this is a bit easier to take on. So I write my application, submit it as a youth and mini basketball commissioner. I think I might be the first woman on this position. I don't know, because at least I know previously we had a general secretary, probably 10 or 15 years ago. We had a general secretary, that was a woman. And for me, I said maybe this would be my starting point in serving, and especially in leadership, because I think naturally as women, I don't know who is going to help us take away this fear to step up and be leaders. But I think for me, I believe it starts with you and what you stand for and what you believe in, and also what you believe you have invested in yourself in. I have tried, I think, tooth and nail to ensure that I get some of the best teachers teaching me, especially in sports management and administration. And I believe I have the capability of trying to see or having a change in leadership, but also mainly in sports and how we can promote and use sport in my country. So for me, it's still a journey. I don't think I'm going to remain a youth commissioner. I think one time I want to be a general secretary too. I don't know for which organization, but it is a line I'm focusing on too for the next journey. But right now I cannot say that it's very easy, because you have a position where you might have just a minimal say, but when it comes to what you're managing, you have to have the expertise, you have to have the knowledge, you have to have connections or the network on which you can use to avail yourself with different resources. You cannot be the mastermind every time. It's always okay to ask. It is always okay to fail when you're assigned something, but when you fail, how do you pick yourself up? How do you make sure that the next project will be a success? So for me, it is mainly my passion, for example, and also what I believe in, and then what I have invested myself in. There is no one who is going to come and tell me, hey, Patricia, you need to do ABCD. By the time you tell me, I have already thought about what suggestion you're saying and what are the pros and cons. I'll give you an example. We are still struggling, and I think worldwide, we still struggle with women coaches, lady referees. And I don't think it's because the men have said women are not capable. It's because us as women, we are failing to have belief in our own selves, have courage to say, if I can be committed to do ABCD, I think I can actually achieve it. So we have decided to already say, oh, let the men support us. I think it is high time to beat ourselves on the back and say, hey, you have to push your own self. No one is coming to tell you do ABCD. No, if you want to do something, read about it, invest yourself in it, dedicate yourself, because most of these, for example, male coaches have invested in themselves. They have started up academies. They have seen growth from being a youth coach to being a senior coach, but it all takes time and it all takes sacrifice. But if we think because, oh, women empowerment, oh, so we think things will come for free, I don't think this is correct. I think we need to, how do you call it? I think we need to sacrifice. I think we need to do it with passion. I think we need to be our own motivations to whatever leadership position we want to be. You want to be the best women coach in a male's league. I can give you the example of Coach Liz. I've never met her, but every success she has attempted right now on the African continent she's, I think, trying to send us a message that, hey, ladies, you guys here can actually do it. She cannot come all the way from Australia to come and now start preaching this. And if we can only push our own selves, invest, read, because these things don't come easy. And if we are just waiting for a silver plate, hey, beautiful, here you go, you can be head coach. No, it's not going to happen. We have to sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice to get where we want to be.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Experts in Global Sports, Voices of Change, a podcast of the International Coaching Course. Do you feel inspired by what has been said? Did you learn something new? Do you want to share your story? Get in touch with us on Instagram or Facebook to follow our common goal to develop and promote sports to make the world a better place.